In this episode, you'll learn about the centralization-decentralization dichotomy and mission-oriented, functional, and hybrid organizations. As your organization scales, you'll find that the set of tasks and skills needed to run a small team is very different from those needed to run a large one. The central decision you'll need to make is when to centralize and decentralize decision-making. If you centralize certain activities, you can do many things at a lower cost and higher quality level. Inversely, centralized decision-making often means you're further from the problem and may not come up with the best solution. This centralization-decentralization dichotomy is so pervasive that it's one of the most important themes in management. Recall that management is a team game. A manager's output is equal to the output of their organization, plus the output of the neighboring organizations under their influence. As you scale, management becomes not just a team game, but a team of teams game, where various teams exist in mutually supportive relationships. Now, let's dive into how organizations can be composed. Mission-oriented organizations are completely decentralized, and each business unit pursues its goals with little tie-in to other units. In this model, individual teams are responsible for all elements of their operation, from marketing to hiring to developing product. The only benefit a mission-oriented model provides is that it empowers managers who are closest to the problem to respond to changes in environmental demand fast. All other considerations favour a different model, namely a functional organisation. So, why have mission-oriented organisations at all? Because the business of any business is to respond to environmental demand, and the need to be responsive is so important that most organisations end up with mission-oriented groups. Functional organisations are at the other extreme and are completely centralised. Decisions are made at headquarters and cascade down, with each unit being responsible for a particular discipline across the organisation, such as product, growth, engineering, sales, or finance. The functional model provides obvious economies of scale and allows the expertise of know-how managers in each operational area to be leveraged across the entire organisation. It also means you can reallocate resources in response to changes in priorities, and business units can focus on mastery. But there are also disadvantages to the functional model. Functional groups suffer from information overload and must respond to demands from different business units that often struggle to adequately communicate their needs. This can lead to internal competition between business units, who compete for priority and control over functional groups. This infighting is clearly a waste of time and resources, as it doesn't contribute to the output of the company. In practice, most companies generally exist between the two extremes of mission-oriented and functional organizations. To quote Grove's Law, all large organizations with a common business purpose end up in a hybrid organizational form. This mix provides a balance between the responsiveness of mission-oriented units and the leverage provided by functional groups. The only exception to Grove's Law are conglomerates, which are typically organized in a totally mission-oriented form. This works when subsidiaries are independent and bear no relationship to one another. But even in this situation, each subsidiary tends to be structured as a hybrid organization. At the end of the day, each hybrid organization is unique. There are an infinite number of permutations that lie between a totally mission-oriented and a totally functional organization. In fact, a single organization can and should fluctuate between the two extremes to match the operational styles and aptitudes of its managers. The most important problem to solve is the optimum and timely allocation of resources and the efficient resolution of conflicts arising over that allocation. While centralized planning is attractive in theory, it falls over in practice. Centralized planners just can't respond nor predict to changes in demand fast enough. In practice, the answer lies with middle managers, who are closest to the problem of generating and consuming internal resources. For middle managers to succeed, two things are necessary. One, they must accept the inevitability of the hybrid organisation. And two, they must develop and master the practice through which a hybrid organisation is managed, namely dual reporting, which is the subject of the next episode.